It's Friday, and it's time for a hello from the Pacific Northwest, Gil and Brenda Stewart. And today is almost 16 years, because yesterday was our 15th anniversary.
Yeah.
And so we came all the way up to Skamania County to a place called Skamania Lodge, which is directly behind us. And a big, beautiful fireplace inside, and free hot chocolate as much as you can drink.
Your favorite.
My favorite, yeah. And so we've just had a really great time up here the last day and a half, and wanted to share it with you. But, you know, happy anniversary to us. And I think you kind of wanted to explain why we always say the day after our anniversary that it's almost 16 years now.
Yeah. Well,
What does that mean?
I think for us anyway, I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but my first marriage was 19 years.
Mine was 24.
Yeah, so even though this is our time and it's special, for me personally, once I hit that 19 years in a day, I'm thinking I'll feel different, and maybe when you hit, 24 in a day.
Maybe you'll just feel older.
Yeah, we definitely do already. So, I don't know, that's why we always kind of push it forward, like, okay, it's been 15 years in a day, so now we can say, we've been married almost 16 years, and then, and then you throw in the remarried math, 15.
Yeah. I mean, because honestly, that whole thought was the impotence of where remarried math came from, was to, accelerate the time we've been together, because it feels like we've been together for really only a short period of time, but 15 years there's been a lot when you really reflect back on stuff, and so much to be thankful for.
Oh, totally.
Lots to be thankful for.
Yeah.
Lots to think about the challenges and so forth, but more to be thankful for as we continue to slog our way through life. So
okay, I want to pan around so you can see what's in front of us that will now be behind us.
I'm going to duck.
Okay, I don't
want.
want.
You're going which way?
This is like a weapon. I don't want Gil to get hit. But behind us and over here is, part of the Columbia River Gorge, and this summer was pretty crazy. There was a huge fire.
About 50,000 acres were burned.
Yeah, and you can see you can't really see from the video here, but the hills over there, I mean, they are just scorched, and that was all beautiful forest. Yeah, and now they're obviously worried about slides and
the
stuff.
erosion and slides
so
because of,
we're on the Washington side, that's on the Oregon side of the Columbia River, but anyway, haven't been out here.
Yeah, so I think the most encouraging thing that I pull away from as we were reflecting last night were some of the happy moments, some of the fun times, first dates, and first place where I gave you a kiss.
Yeah.
And we won't be talking about that on this. That is...
we'll be so busted.
That is none of your business. That's none of your business.
Oh, but you know what I want to do, and maybe I can link this at the bottom of the video here, but... Gil had found this thing off of Family Life called 30
Conversations with Your Spouse.
Yeah, and we did that last night during dinner, and I think people were looking at us because even though I had my phone out because I was reading all the questions, there were some really hard questions, like what time were you most scared? As a woman, I need this right now. As a man, I need this right now. I mean, really good questions.
The one question that was the one that brought the most laughter was, if your kids knew that you did such and such, it would gross them out.
That didn't take long to figure that out.
Yeah.
But
Which
anyway,
is again back to none of your business.
I will link that, or if you go on familylife.com, or what I did is I just Googled 30 conversation starters with your spouse. And anyway, it was fun. It's supposed to be, you're supposed to do one a day, but we did them all last night.
We didn't do them all. We
got most of them.
But I guess it's
fun.
The idea is that when you do go out on date nights, according to Brenda's date rules.
Yeah.
That way you've got something to talk about rather than the kids and the bills and all that junk that's just so hard to get through. That it brought laughter and just some time to reflect on some of the stuff that has been such a blessing. So,
or that we've forgotten because of life that's happened.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I remember that time that we did this and that was funny, and
right.
It just brought that connection again that we all as human beings long for, especially in our marriages, and it can get lost just because in the busyness of stuff.
Right.
So.
Well, and plus the fact it gave you a chance to dress up last night, so you looked really,
Yeah, it's
really
been
good.
so long
Yeah.
since I've done that.
Yeah, you looked
I
really
look pretty good too.
Yeah, it was fun.
One thing I wanted to share is really kind of neat. You know, we travel a lot and we're in hotels a lot, and usually, you know, there'll be a little, there's like white washcloths there, right? So ladies, when we take off our makeup and stuff, it's like, oh, I hate to use the white washcloth because your makeup comes
Is
on.
it makeup or
there.
war paint? I'm not sure.
Sometimes. Watch it.
Okay.
And some hotels have these little packets that you take and you can, get the makeup off. But we went to this, where we stayed last night, Skamania Lodge. It's kind of a nice place. And they actually had a black washcloth that said makeup on it. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is a brilliant idea. I know this may sound minor, but it's like, this is a brilliant idea. Then I don't feel guilty using a black washcloth to wash my face.
I thought it was a golf club
Cleaner.
towel.
Hey, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's
That was a
your
used golf.
makeup. But
Yeah, they have a really nice golf course here, which is
yeah.
part of why I thought, oh, maybe it's a used golf club.
I didn't even think of that, but you're right. It's a hard golf course.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just thinking, gosh, how applicable to, as we reflect, it's our anniversary, we're starting a new year. In what ways, I was always thought that you used a white washcloth to take off your makeup, right? We've always done things that way.
The same
and
way.
all of a sudden
yeah.
it's like, oh my gosh, here's a black washcloth that's made specifically for makeup taking off. So I guess the light bulb that went off for me is sometimes we get used to using the white washcloth, and maybe it's time to try a black washcloth. What are you doing in your family and your marriage that's been, this is how we do it, or this is how we were taught, and it's hard, it's not really working for us. So what would that black washcloth look like for you? How can you change things up? How can you impact your marriage? And that step kid that's just been a real challenge for you, how can you change it up? Obviously, if you're what is the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting
Yeah.
a different result. But maybe with that black washcloth and with that kid that just doesn't shut up, you could actually use it as a gag.
No.
You could get some duct tape, stuff it in their mouth, and and just make sure no one calls Child Protective Services while you do that. I don't know. I'm thinking.
Can you get something a little bit more positive?
I think that's a good idea. Just, hey kid, shut up. You need to just put a sock in it. Well, why not a black washcloth?
Well, I remember talking to a stepmom yesterday who, whenever the step kid came over for visitation, and this was a very non-communicative stepdaughter, and I remember this too, you try so hard as a mom to engage that stepchild, and they just kind of give you the hand up, and it's emotionally exhausting. I've been there, I know that. It's
Yeah.
like, so if this isn't working, what can you do in your family to change it up a little bit?
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Not a thing. I got nothing.
You got
I've been trying to make jokes of what you've been talking about all along. So anyhow, got to keep this stuff light.
I know.
Reframe the circumstances. When it's really getting you down, you got to find another way to look at it, like a black washcloth instead of a white one. Because when you wipe all that stuff off on the white washcloths, it leaves stains.
Sometimes it does.
It leaves stains, and sometimes that stuff doesn't come out. So I guess you're saying use something that doesn't show the stains?
This is a work in progress. So if you have any comments,
Yeah.
leave them below.
Yeah, leave them below. Tell Gil to shut up.
No. Or Brenda, your thought is just whack. It just
Yeah.
doesn't play out. So anyway,
Yeah, I guess that's the whole thought of what you're sharing is to reframe things, because if you can't see it and you're just getting completely shut down and blinding yourself, step back and reframe the
Yeah.
situation. Try something different. And if you can, try to make it humorous, because the right use of humor in the right timing, even with a kid, actually can break up the monotony and change
Yeah.
the trajectory of what's going on.
yeah, you're right.
And for your own soul's sake, some humor goes a long way. So
Yeah.
I think there's a radio spot, I can't remember the guy that does it, but it's kind of called Lighten Up and Live. And so in a lot of ways, when things are heavy, like makeup on a black washcloth, it's kind of humorous, but it might change your perspective.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah. With that.
with that, hey, happy anniversary.
Thank
you, as you all remember, if you ain't got the marriage.
You ain't got nothing.
All right.
Take
Bless
care.
you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.